You're watching Moms Matter virtual episode at Effort Talk TV, and I'm your host, Shirin Yadigar. I have a very special guest today. Her name is Gina Diva, and she is the author of The Audacity to Be a Queen. I love that title. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Of course you would love it being a queen yourself.
It's amazing. I mean, you just have this great positive energy about you. How are you staying positive right now while we're all quarantined at home?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, I really got clear on my connection with spirit and faith. Everything was seemingly so big, and I had to remember that the universe is actually bigger than coronavirus. At the beginning, it felt like the sky was starting to fall, and it was like all consuming. So when I got grounded in the truth that we still have personal power, we still have choices, we still get to have certainty on what we focus on, I made a commitment to stay informed, but not indulge. So I watch 1 hour of news a day. That's it. It's just 1 hour in and out. And then I really focus on positive programming. I'm really paying attention to what I let into my mind, watching inspiring and positive shows like this one, reading positive books, and doing fun Zoom chats and happy hours with positive people.
Well, I think that's great advice for everyone who's watching. Not having the news on all day can really be a great positive way to spend your day. Like you said, you tune in, you get an hour of it, and you're done. You don't need more than that.
Exactly.
So when you say you're tuning in to your spirit, what do you mean by that?
Well, I think that it was really about, for me, the way that I do that is through journaling. Mostly, I pray, I meditate, I read spiritual books, but the most personal connection I have is through journaling. And that's where I can just really feel connected with the earth, the universe, my spiritual practice. And that's where I really get my spiritual guidance. That's where I get spiritual wisdom. And that's where it came from, that, I have a choice to choose love or fear right now. And you can't do a little bit of both. It's like, you can't be a little bit pregnant. It's one or the other where your focus is. And we humans think we're so sophisticated, like, well, I'm not really afraid, but, the economy is crumbling. Well, the entire world is pivoting together at the same time. And there are solutions, financial, for childcare, for there are choices that humanity gets to make. And if we see it as an opportunity for those of us who are safe and for those of us who are at home and really keep things in perspective, I find that having a spiritual grounding and guidance is really making a big difference.
It is 100%. We do that at home. And I think, and what you say about staying positive, especially for moms who are watching, whatever we do, whatever our energy is what our kids pick up.
Totally.
And you've talked before about how this is a time for relationships. And for those of us who are lucky enough to be quarantined with family, what are some ways do you think that we can really maximize positive relationships with the people we love right now?
I'm very happily married to my husband, and he's like the easiest part of my life, which I think it made me realize how much I actually take him for granted. I love him. I know that he knows that. But when this all happened, I remember I was just looking at him in the living room one day, and I was like, people were talking about not liking who they were quarantined with. I'm like, I had so much more gratitude that he's here. It made me drop into an even deeper level of love for him. We're adult human beings that can't go anywhere right now. So we're mindful, of he's in his part of the house at certain times. I'm in my office right now.
Right.
But I think that really we're so grateful that we're healthy. We're so grateful that we're together. And we're doing things that we don't always do. We're cooking all kinds of new recipes. We both went to Le Cordon Bleu as a hobby, but we, go out to eat all the time. So it's we're cooking new recipes. We played Scrabble the other night. What? We're doing fun things, and it's kind of falling in love in a way that we wouldn't have otherwise.
That's a beautiful thing. To be able to connect like that. And what about the moments where you get frustrated? We all get frustrated. We all can get on each other's nerves.
Yeah.
But how do we deal with it in a way where we're not going to regret what we do later?
Sure. Well, I think that's really about being visible to your needs and your partner's needs. It was like right before this interview, I went over to his, we're like, our house has kind of like two separate parts. We went over to that other side and I wanted to let our puppy out of the cage because I just wanted some animal love. And he's like, don't let the dog out. I don't want to deal with the pup, all the puppy energy right now. And so I said, oh, hey, baby, I've been on a lot of Zoom calls today, and I want some animal love. So I'd like 5 minutes with the puppy. And then he's like, all right, 5 minutes. And I think it was just like for me to not go invisible and be like, okay, he doesn't want me to do it. I don't want to bother him. Right. And not to be like, I'm going to have the dog out for an hour. It's being visible to your needs, to your partner's needs, having boundaries and compassion, and being a little flexible.
Amazing. I mean, that's great advice. And it's true. And it's hard to do. But I think if you're mindful of it, it's a lot easier to do. So
absolutely. It's all about being a queen. I read about it in the book. Women are the gatekeepers of relationships. And there's not a man in the world that can, say no to a woman who's loving and feminine and in her power.
I mean, I have to say what I love so much about what you write about and what you talk about all the time is owning your femininity, because that is what's going to make you fly. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. And I have so much compassion about this for you mothers, because humanity thinks that mothers of small children are feminine and are in their feminine energy, and they're not. So real quick, the masculine energy is the logical, the linear, the practical, the probable, the concrete, the tangible. It's about providing and protecting. And ultimately, masculinity is about giving. And then femininity is the insightful, the intuitive, the spiritual, the creative, the nonlinear being. Ultimately, it's about receiving. So think about, as a mother, you are constantly providing, protecting, and giving. So you're so much in your masculine energy by the nature of the role. And so, femininity is about getting really great at receiving attention, receiving wisdom from your intuition, receiving a compliment, receiving the ability to take up space or set your own boundaries. And so when a woman, when there's masculine and feminine within both male and female, but since we women, feminine is our primal nature, when we're really great at being feminine, it means we're really great at receiving. And I can really liken, boil it down to like any area that we're not happy with in our life comes down to what I call the injured feminine instinct. Somehow, some way we have, through conditioning, through our own, every woman has a story, through our own challenges and upbringing, we've gotten injured along the way about our ability to receive. For some, it's money. For some, it's love. For some, it's attention. For some, it's confidence. And the list goes on and on. But when we bring attention to, what is it we're desiring more of, and you have the tools to know that it's about you getting great at receiving that, then you can become great at anything that you're aware of if you put the work in. And I have lots of tips in my book about exactly how to do that as well.
I mean, right now is probably the most challenging time as moms and women to receive, because we are giving, we're preparing meals, and we're cleaning, and we're cooking, and we're homeschooling. So give us a few little tips on how we might be able to reset at the most challenging time for us as moms at home.
Yes. So I'm gonna borrow one from the Dalai Lama on this one. Someone asked him, how often do you meditate? And he said, usually an hour a day, except when I'm really busy, then 2 hours. And I think for moms right now, this is like more than ever, you have got to take care of yourself. You have got to set boundaries. No is a complete sentence, and it's not a dirty word. And for your children to see you knowing that you're taking care of yourself, you're prioritizing time alone with yourself, everyone benefits, and we all know that. So as difficult it is for women to set boundaries and say no or feel the mom guilt, this is the time that you really have an opportunity to change the consciousness in your home and in the world, because it's women who are holding the light of possibility, of creativity, of bringing love to a really dark place right now. And you can't give what you don't have. So if you're depleted emotionally, physically, energetically, you're not going to be able to give that to your children. You're not going to be able to give that to your work if you're working. So I would say prioritizing time with self alone, setting boundaries, and adding more fun. One of the elements of femininity is pleasure and play, and we modern women have gotten really serious. Like, oh, we got to get the work done. The kids have to get the homework done, and it's like, let's return to our natural instincts of play and pleasure and fun.
I have to tell you that my girls are going to watch this and love you and want to give you a big old kiss. We're getting way too serious, and you're right. A big part of femininity is letting go and being passionate and enjoying. And how can we hold the light if we are so serious about everything we do?
It's true. It's so true.
I mean, you are an extremely successful entrepreneur. You have made millions of dollars spreading this beautiful, positive message.
Yes, I feel very, very blessed. You know, I used to be a struggling psychotherapist, and, you know, I always, like most women, had a bigger dream for my life. And I just knew that there was a different way. I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit. My parents were school teachers. I was just taught, go to college, get a job. It's like we can live the American dream, but don't dream too big. Like, you can have a nice life, but not too nice. And so there were all these contradictions, and I just kept, like, I wanted more, and I used to feel bad about it, and it used to be a secret because I thought I should be happy with what I have. And the more I realized the people that I look up to, like, they clearly desired more for themselves, and that's what was inspiring. And when I got my master's degree in clinical psychology, I really became lit up with human potential. And it's not just about accumulating more stuff, and it's not about just more money. It's all of it. It's more fun. It's more contribution. It's more visibility. It's more impact in the world. And it's about living a beautiful life and lifestyle. So, you know, it wasn't only my desire, shall we say. You know, when I started having the courage to speak out loud about all the things that were important to me, a spiritual connection, being personally developed, having a meaningful career, having a beautiful lifestyle, women started flocking to the message. So I feel very blessed to be on this path, and going nowhere but bigger and more expansive and greater contribution, because the age of Queen is now.
I love that. The age of Queen is now, and I can't wait to read your book, and I can't wait to get you in the studio and interview you about your book.
Thank you.
Where can we purchase this book for everyone who's watching?
Yes, thank you so much. So if you go to my website, divineliving.com/book, that's DIVINE, divineliving.com/book. You can get the book in Audible, Kindle, or hardcover. And if you want a free gift, you can go to divineliving.com/epic gift. And that's where you can get a free introduction and first chapter of the book, audio and printed. There's some meditations there for you. And there's also a free video training on how you can live the epic life. So that's a free gift to you.
Well, thank you for sharing your beautiful energy with us, and for telling us that we are all queens out there, and we all just need to tap into our light and hold the torch.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Clearly, you know that in every woman lives a queen, and you have that queen energy. It's been so fun being here with you and being in your gorgeous vibration.
Well, you saw it all here on Moms Matter virtual episode at EverTalk TV with Gina Diva, and we'll see you all next time.